How do you have less stress? Doesn't that sound wonderful? Right? We all have stress and it varies depending upon what's going on. And we know that too much stress is really detrimental to our health, our well being. It doesn't feel good, and there is no peace about it. And we also know that if we have just just a little bit of stress, that it can actually be helpful. It helps us get things accomplished. It helps motivate us. It can lead us in new directions. But what about when it's too much? And how do we begin to think about bringing down our stress levels? Now, there are many practices and many ways to get at this. But the psychologist and philosopher William James, he says the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. We have a choice as to what we're going to focus on what we're going to give our attention. And so if we find ourselves getting really stressed about something, I'm going, wait a minute, maybe I need to focus on something else. Maybe I need to go pay attention to. And along these lines, we get a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of help out of Proverbs when it says, like yanking the ears of a dog, so is one who passes by and gets involved in another person's fight. Like a crazy person shooting deadly flaming arrows are those who deceive their neighbor and say, hey, I was only joking. All right. So right there, if we're thinking about, okay, what do we choose to focus on? What do we choose our attention? Here, Proverbs is like, sometimes, right, we just got to let other people's business be their business. That recognition of we can't control others and that we may need to take a step back. So if we're feeling stressed about a situation, is it because we've gotten focused on something we have no control over, on it's other people's business? Maybe we've gotten even a little bit nosy and we're kind of poking around. We want a little more information, but really it just kind of stresses us out and it can stress other people out. And then Proverbs where it says, like a crazy person shooting deadly flaming arrows are those who deceive their neighbor and say, hey, I was only joking. What stresses us out or makes our stress levels go up are our words, our actions actually stoking, right? Flaming arrows. Are we saying things that we know are gonna upset people? Are we trying to make people, are we getting underneath their skin? We don't like it when people do it to us, but do we find ourselves, because we kind of want to get back at, and then we're like, oh yeah, no, never mind. And so this is really kind of a moment of going, all right, what am I focused on? Am I getting involved in other people's business that I shouldn't be doing? And are my words and my actions actually making the problem worse? The philosopher Epictetus says, keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern. And be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. So often we need to just keep scrolling. We need to walk on by. We hear words and we just need to keep going. Like pay no attention. Don't pick them up. And so when we feel our stress levels coming up, when we feel like, you know what, the burdens are getting too much, what is it that we need to go, you know what, I don't need to pay any more attention to that. The Buddha says, do not give your attention to what others do or fail to do. Give it to what you do or fail to do. So, you know what? We got to focus on our own stuff, on the things that we have control over, that really is our business. And are we keeping our business in order instead of trying to pay attention to someone else's? And so these are the questions we have to ask ourselves, right? We have to ask, are we getting stressed out about others that we have no control over? Is this really my concern? Am I just being nosy? Is this another person's problem really mine? Or am I being asked to side in something that really I have no business being a part of? And are my words and my actions actually making the situation worse? And so where will you choose to focus your attention so that your stress levels may begin to come down a little bit? Pray with me. God of peace, so often we focus on things we cannot control that take too much of our attention and are distracting us from what is really important. Help us to be discerning when our stress levels rise. Help us to know when to keep on scrolling or letting words pass us by. Help us to not use our words and actions to stoke division and problems. May we know when to keep our noses out of other people's business so that we do not add more stress to our lives or other people's lives. God, remind us to focus on your love and acceptance when life begins to feel burdensome. Amen.